you need to actually print the staircase, I believe. Yeah. So they have given the staircase of size n, and the base and height both are equal to n. So your both should having the 4 pounds, and the height should also be having a 4. I mean, you can consider it as 4 levels. Okay, and then they have given you some constant, so your n can belong to 0 to 100. So basically, whatever the problem you are going to design, you need to take this thing into consideration, that the input can be from 0 to 100, not 0. I believe it should be greater than 0, because 0 में क्या बनाएंगे. Then your simple output, this is your simple output for 6. Okay, the staircase is right aligned. So if you see, your staircase is right aligned. Okay, composed of dollars, not dollar, it's a pound symbol, and a spaces has a height of 6. Okay, so here what you have to design is, so okay, चलो इसको बड़ा कर लेते हैं कुछ. So you have to design, so basically this should be your simple input and output. So when you run this code, it will be taking in as 6, and it will try to compare your output with the simple output. If it matches, then your case will be passed. Okay, so without delaying anything, let's start it. So क्या करेंगे हम लोग? So let's start with this for loop. Okay, int I is equal to, let's start with 1. Okay, I less than is equal to n. So just consider your n value is 6. Okay, I plus plus. Okay, about this. Okay, so what we have to do here is, let's say I is equal to 1. So it is here. Okay, so you need to print 1 hash. Okay, so how you'll be doing is, you need to put one more for loop here. Okay, put int j is equal to 1 here, j less than is equal to I j plus plus. Okay, so in this case what you are trying to do is, just take the example of the first one. Okay, so for I is equal to 1, it is going to run for only one loop, because for the second iteration your j become 2, which will violate this condition, because it is always checking your j should be lesser than or equal to I. For the second loop, it is going to run for the second 2 times, because j will run for j is equal to 1 and j is equal to 2. J cannot run for 3 because I value is 2, so it will violate this condition. Okay, so here what you have to do is, you have to print the pound. Okay, okay, so after this, so for every iteration, for every internal iteration, you need to print the pound, and then you need to change the line, right? So for that you need to write the console.writeLine. Then you need to give the space. Okay, now let's run this code and see what is happening. Okay, unexpected symbol, where it is. So okay, this one is missing yet. Okay, now let's run this code. Okay, so it says simple test case 0 has failed. So we have published the output, but that's not in the correct format. So if you see, it is aligned towards left, but we need to make sure it is aligned towards right. Okay, so what we can do, okay, let's read out the statement again. So its space and height are both unequal. It is drawing using a symbol and a spaces. Okay, let's talk about the space as well. So can we consider, just by taking just by seeing this output, we can consider there are 5 spaces, there are 4 spaces, 3 spaces, 2, 1, and there is no space. Okay, so let's consider this space as a 0 as of now. And let's try to build it. So what we'll do is, in the first line itself, we'll print 5 0. So something like this I think will be helpful. So 1 2 3 4 5 0, and then this pound, and then for the second line you'll be printing this 40 and then 2 hash, okay, and then 30 and then 3 hash. Similarly for we'll be decreasing the number of zero count, and the pound sign will be increasing as we go down. Okay, so and we'll replace the 0 at the end. I'm just putting it just for the better visualization. Okay, so in this case what we can do is we can start with I is equal to 1, I less than 6, that's fine. But here you need to make sure we are doing it for 0, right? So you need to start it with 6, okay, and then here you'll be checking if j is greater than or equal to 1, okay, and then j minus minus. So why we are doing it? So let's see, let's remove it. So you need to print 0 for the first iteration at 5 times, okay. So in this case what happened, here I is equal to 1 and j is equal to 6, okay. So you want to print 0 for j is equal to 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, but not 1, okay. So what you can try to check here is if your I value, so your I value is equal to 1, right? So for the first iteration you are going to print only 1 pound. For second iteration where I is equal to 2, you need to print pound 2 times, okay. So what you can check here is if your j value is exceeding your I value, in that case you can print 0, else you can print pound. So we can write something like this: if j is greater than I, in this case what we are going to print is console.write, we are going to print here 0, okay. So by doing this we are making sure it is going to print for 5 times, because for the sixth one where your j value will become 1 and I is also 1, so it's not going to go inside this loop, it's going to go to the else block. So in else block we can do our actual what is, so which is like you need to print the dollar, okay. Now I think that should work. Let's see what it is printing now. Okay, so if you see we are able to print that in same format. Now what you can do is you can remove the 0, you can replace the 0 with the blank space. Okay, so now that should work. Okay, so now it is fine. So you can see that your output is the same as the sample output, so your test case has been passed. Let's try to submit the code and see whether it's passing for all the test cases. Yes, so your code has been passed for all the test cases, okay.